Does a situation like this where you see that private debt firms such as yourself and Monroe Capital, are you best positioned, or you better positioned to take advantage of this market as we start to at some point emerge from the crisis, that you can gain additional market share to some degree from the traditional lenders such as banks?
Yeah, like anything else, in crisis times and in challenging economic times, we play mostly defense. The financial industry is focused as more of a defensive player at times like this. However, we like to play offense. I like to play offense on a personal basis. So what we've done in this situation, as well as back in 2009, is we've positioned ourselves to play some offense. And we play offense by getting involved in opportunistic lending. While a lot of the traditional PE sponsors and investment banking transactions have been put on hold, there's a ton of opportunity in secondary transactions right now where we can buy assets at 80, 85 cents on the dollar from others that are having liquidity issues. We're doing a fair amount of bridge financing. We just did a few bridge real estate financing, first mortgage deals at attractive rates. We're looking at rescue financing. A number of the portfolio companies are in need of capital. Lots of other lenders are on the sidelines right now that aren't in the position or is fortunate to have dry powder. So we're lucky. We've got about $1.5 billion pipeline today of opportunistic finance transactions that are backed by assets, not enterprise value, not multiples of cash flow, but good hard assets, which is what our industry, the asset-based lending industry, should be able to do in times like this.
The market became highly competitive, as you know, over the past, I'm going to just say 5+ years, but I could say longer than that. And that has caused some lenders, both traditional and non-traditional, to in some ways loosen their underwriting credit standards. I won't say that's an across-the-board statement, but there's quite a few that we could maybe say that about. Do you think that this crisis is going to cause lenders to take a look and scrutinize the credit underwriting standards? Or do you think that we're going to come out of this where everyone's going to be so hungry for business again and the opportunities are going to be there, that the competitive nature is going to be just as strong as it was before, and people will continue to underwrite some deals that maybe should be underwritten a little bit differently?
I will tell you, the lesson I've learned over the last 24 years of doing this is that the lending business is a pendulum business. The pendulum swings one way and it swings back another way. The last 5, 6, 7 years, the pendulum is swung pretty far to the left on the credit curve. New business, earnings, revenues have dominated most of the financial institutions' appetites and bank appetites. During the credit crisis, we learned last time that it's not all about new business. It's not all about attracting revenues. It's maintaining discipline, and it's protecting the capital that you've employed. It took 2 to 3 years for the pendulum to swing back to the right after the last credit crisis, where the risk and credit managers ran the show. I think it's going to happen again just the same way. We're going to go through, I believe, a 2 to 3 year period where lots of really smart financial industry executives in our business, in the banking industry, in the non-banking industry, are going to look at themselves and say, why in the heck did we get involved in lending at these rates to hotels and to leisure companies and to bars and restaurants? And they're going to say, we shouldn't have done that. And it's going to be hard to get loans in those areas because the consumer is going to change their behavior. You're not going to see the same amount of people traveling. Conference calls. If you look at Zoom today, the market cap of Zoom is higher than the market cap of Ford, GM, and Chrysler all put together. So consumers are going to change their behavior, and credit managers and risk officers at financial institutions are going to take notice of that. And it's going to be a little while before we get back to the go-go days of enterprise value cash flow lending for buyouts, I think.
Okay, thank you. That's a great answer. I'm going to switch gears a little bit more because you also happen to be the CEO and president of a business development corporation. So I was doing a little research, and there was a report that came out from Moody's on April 9th. Moody's Investor Services, that was published, and they revised their outlook on US BDCs to negative from stable. And they did that based basically on the impact of the coronavirus as well as falling oil prices. What do you see as your outlook for BDCs? Is that any different for the BDCs than you see for the non-BDC market, since you are involved in both ends of this market?
Yeah, the BDC, you have to remember, a BDC, a business development company, is a public vehicle. Most of them are publicly traded. There's some that are non-traded, but it's a vehicle that basically is an investment fund in a public format. So it's a fund that's collecting a number of diverse portfolio loan investments and then creating cash flow and paying a dividend. It's not too dissimilar to a bank. What's happened now, unfortunately, is that BDCs, like banks, have been tarred with all the same brush. Many banks, if you look at the market cap and what's happened to banks, have gotten hit hard. BDCs likewise. And there's a lot of good banks out there that don't deserve the treatment that they've received. And there's a lot of good BDCs that don't deserve the treatment that they've received in the short term. Take a look at MRCC, which is our BDC. We don't have any exposure to any of these high-risk COVID industries, whether it's autos, aircraft, restaurants, hotels, leisure, metals, mining, energy, et cetera. But we've been treated much the same with all the other BDCs in the market. So I think that from an investor standpoint, it's probably a good exercise to go through and evaluate the BDCs, just like the banks, and pick out the ones that are solid, pick out the ones that have a good history, good earnings history, good management, good business prospects, affiliated with valuable franchises that have real goodwill. And it's probably a pretty good buying opportunity today for both the BDC market as well as the financial institution market, because this will pass like everything else. It may take a few quarters. It may require us to get into 2021, but this is going to pass. When people go back to work and businesses start functioning again, the high quality banks, financial institutions, BDC managers will prosper again.
Well, on that high note, that's a good high note for us to end this on. It really is, Ted, and it's a good outlook, and I appreciate your time today very, very much. Your insights are always invaluable, and I want to make sure that I wish you and your team all the best as you continue to drive through this crisis, and I hope that you and your family are staying safe and well. And I really do appreciate this for the ABL Advisor viewers, for you to be the first one that we interview for this new series that we're featuring.
Good. Well, thank you, Mike. Good luck. Your organization has always been on top of things for the industry, and stay safe and healthy, and my best to all of your viewers.
Thanks very much. Have a great day, Ted.